Hello and welcome, football fans. We are here and we are live. A little Michigan Panthers podcast action coming at you. Give me three of those. A little off-season action, little updates and more here for you and the greatest team within the UFL. I know what you're thinking. Who is that mustachioed man screaming in my ear about spring football? Well, I'm FBI Tugboat. I am an esports caster. I'm a commentator of traditional sports as well. I'm obviously a podcast host or whatever you want to call it, and I film all kinds of content. Really, I love spring football. I love football in all its various forms. I love spring football, and I love the United Football Media Group for having me in and being able to cover the Michigan Panthers. Yes, we are it is November 18th, probably about 2 weeks or so outside of Thanksgiving, rivalry week, college football games, truly some of the greatest parts of the sporting year. And we're like 4 or 5 months, I believe. March 30th is the official kickoff day here for the UFL. That'll be like a month and some change after the Super Bowl. So we're like 4 months out. So what better time to do a little off-season action, right? We got a little bit of information. We don't have our team fully formed and announced quite yet. We don't even have schedules fully formed and announced quite yet. We do have venues. Let's talk about all of that coming in here. A little topic action. Bam! Bam! Little COC Manor holding us down right there while sitting next to the topics. Excuse me. Let's go. Yeah, we can talk a little bit about the season 2024. I'll go through. We'll even go through, and I'll just kind of like run through these games specifically, like each of the 10 regular season games. But just to kind of give you guys an idea, honestly, this was a Michigan Panthers squad. That's really loud. This is a Michigan Panthers squad that was simply plagued by injury. We had the full-on quarterback corral out here. Yeehaw, y'all. To come in here and sling the rock. Obviously, some of them coming in running the rock as well. 4 different quarterbacks, yes, in order here. We have E.J. Perry, Danny Etling, Brian Lewerke, and then Bryce Perkins. Bryce Perkins and Danny Etling finishing out the regular season, and obviously the one game of the postseason as well. We finished 7-3, only losing to the San Antonio Brahmas as well as the Birmingham Stallions twice during the regular season, and then once again the USFL conference matchups here. I'll go ahead and in case you want to give you guys all this, you can go ahead and pause it if you want to. This was the entirety of the 2024 Michigan Panthers roster. Again, pause it right here if you need to. I'll give you a second. Bam, pause if you want to. Go ahead and look at that one. Obviously with the end of the season IR stuff right here, showing how various people either finished the season or did not. So, without further ado, in case you're a visual learner, once again, here you go. There we go. This is just a little bit of an overview again, in case you're a visual learner. Feel free to pause. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3,000. Okay, let's get on into it. Game numero uno. Coming out here against the St. Louis Battlehawks. Nobody really knew. Nobody really knew that we were that we had a leg like we did. As you can see right here, that's how the game ended. But this was a slow slog. 3 points the entire first half. We really answered, and they didn't get anything going until the third. This was the 64-yard field goal attempt by Jake Baste. Now, if that name is sound a little familiar to you and you're not familiar with the Michigan Panthers, well, you can tell that's because he's on the Detroit Lions now, literally winning games. Obviously, the Lions doing fantastic finally within the NFL. Not that I'm like a massive fan or nothing like that. I just have respect for him. So, that's there. This was the first right here. Again, start off with quarterback E.J. Perry. 12 for 24 is not very good. 176 is all right. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, no bueno. This is also before really we got off to rushing. This is before Wes Hills got injured. This is when Devin Ross, Marcus Sims, both of them absolutely popping off. I believe that was Trey Quinn. Yeah, that was Trey Quinn here in early. Trey Quinn frequently getting like the most receiving yards in various games. Obviously not here in game number 1. Let's move along. Losing to the Birmingham Stallions, the first of 2 regular seasons losses to them. E.J. Perry didn't get a whole lot of opportunity to rush. This was mostly us, as you can see, playing from behind. They put up 17 points first half right there to our 10. The fourth quarter saw no points whatsoever, try as we might. This is one of the first games that one of the issues kind of shone through, in my opinion, for the squad, and that was that rushing quarterbacks. We did decent. Our defense was great. We'll get through the good, the bad, and the ugly a little bit, but you can kind of see here just had a problem with that rushing quarterback. Obviously, Adrian Martinez is also just absolutely fantastic. Moving into another USFL divisional conference divisional matchup. Not sure. Houston Roughnecks also in the USFL conference in that division of the four. This was the first time we just put a hurt into them. Honestly, I mean, Roughnecks only won a handful of games towards the end of the season, and with us being in their division, we're going to play them twice. We kind of see how that one went as well. Also, that's something else I wanted to see. Yeah, because we were pretty heavily penalized. Okay, so Stallions actually heavily penalized, way more than us in that one. Maybe that was more of a later season thing. We'll kind of monitor that. Moving on in here to the Brahmas game, losing by 10 here. Losing by single score to the Stallions. Obviously, USFL you can score 9 points and a touchdown with a 3-point conversion. Losing by 10 is obviously a 2-score game. This was not a great performance. Quentin Dormady really did take it to us. 23 for 37, obviously 62%, touchdown interception. Given that this is a lower scoring game, not too shabby. EJ Perry starts, Danny Etling. I believe this is where, this game is where Etling saw his first play, and I believe this is where we kind of realized, oh, okay, like, this guy might have the juice. EJ Perry getting some rushing off there as well. Obviously, as you can see, again, we kind of started pretty slow in the first half right here. Moved on, got a little bit more going in the second half, and specifically the fourth quarter. All for naught. Go ahead and close all these. Showboats, yes, the first of our 2 matchups against the Memphis Showboats. I believe this one was at home, and I mean, you see, just dominating the whole game through. 19 points in the first half, 16 in the second, outscoring them in both halves pretty darn handedly. Taking a look at the numbers here, Danny Etling, no other quarterback would play for us. I think Danny Etling is the only quarterback for us who got like all the way in, all the time. He played throughout the entire game. Obviously, barring injury, which, again, we'll get into that a little bit with the good and the bad and the ugly. Wes Hill is just absolutely popping off, dude. When you have double-digit attempts and you're averaging more than 5 yards a carry, that's pretty good. Matthew Colburn doing some fantastic stuff as well. Danny Etling kind of filling in the blanks right there with 5 rushing attempts as well. Take a look down here. So you'll see Mariner, fantastic stuff. Are going to be getting him back. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm very, very, very excited for him. He's also featured on the offseason topics slide. Excuse me. Moving on here. This is the second game that we won, literally because we had a freak of a nature with a right leg, right? Jake Bates. Reason why he's in the NFL right now. This was a heartbreaker I remember watching this game vividly, but this was a heartbreaker for the Arlington Renegades as they were trying to find their very first win of the season. As you can see here, first half pretty darn even, 17 points to 13. Second half, we just barely that 5-point differential, and again, the very last play of the game, 42 yards. Now that's not, 42 yards isn't like ridiculous. I'll tell you what is though. Trying that from 47, maybe even farther than that, if Danny Etling hadn't spiked the ball right there, but then the too many men on the field, dude. This is a professional league. Yes, it's the UFL. This is a professional league. These are the kind of 12 men on the field. They're not the kinds of mistakes that you can make unless your name is Oregon. But ha 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 ha. There's a reason why they changed that literally fucking immediately. Luis Perez, dude, 37 attempts is pretty crazy. Devion Smith and Day Hunter both went forth and 4 attempts for 8. Yes, you only had 4 attempts and whatnot, but the fact that he did it 4 different times and got 32 yards, pretty crazy. Big shout out to Arlington Renegades. I am worried about this team this year. Moving on along here, DC Defenders, the only time we would face this team. Brian Lewerke moving on in here with Bryce Perkins. Bryce Perkins, honestly, one of my favorite quarterbacks of the 4 right there. Again, in order here, chronological order, I should say, for the season. EJ Perry, Danny Etling, Brian Lewerke, Bryce Perkins, and then Danny Etling comes back in with Bryce Perkins a while later. I did not really like Brian Lewerke. As you can see, 3 attempts, 0 yards, 5 for 13. There was just you hit a point right there where he's just not giving us what we need, right? Moving to the next one, 6 for 11, barely a 55% completion rating, and what is that, like 13, 14 yards per. Brian Lewerke, 3 for 13. Well, look at Bryce Perkins, 9 for 54, literally, well, not doubling, but 3 times as many attempts and way better average. We, again, just came out absolutely swinging, 18 points to their 9 in the first half, let off the gas a little bit in the second half. They outscored us by 3 points. Still a 6-point game there, so 2 field goals, touchdown, yada, yada, whatever you want to say. This was if I remember right, this was the end of the Memphis Showboat season. This would have been game 7. So if they'd won out, then you start talking about like possibilities and stuff like that. But we'd already beat them once, and I think their only wins at that point were to the Roughnecks. So there's that. Speaking of the Roughnecks, honestly, they come in and have a much, much better game here. This is towards the end of the season. Again, Bryce Perkins, Danny Etling coming in, 12 for 18, 12 for 15. These are not like, huge, massive differences. The difference comes in my opinion, with the interception to 0 touchdowns, whereas Bryce Perkins at least got a little more even-handed. Obviously, it was a way better percentage, 80% right there. Also, hey, look at that. Highest rusher. Even Nate McCreary had, the same amount of attempts as Bryce Perkins, and he had, more than 4 times as many average yards. These are just things that I remember watching this game, like being irritated with Mike Nolan, and that's not something I can. The Mike Nolan, the head coach of the year last year, like for the UFL. I remember watching this, being like, what am I not understanding about this squad, right? What am I not seeing that we're still having quarterbacks not named Bryce Perkins take the vast majority of snaps, and this conference games as well. Like, yes, this is the next to last season, but still, dude. I don't know. Looking at penalties right here, that is brutal. 11 for 96. 11 for 96, and there's untold points and other positioning. They cannot be described by the 96 yards. Almost a full football field in penalties given over to the Roughnecks. We still beat them by 4. This was an inspirational game, man. It really was. It really was. It was so close that this was the other way, right? Bryce Perkins didn't get to perform in this at all. I do not know why. I was also very, very just irritated with that. Nate McCreary splitting with Toa Tua. Very, very excited for that Toa Tua coming back, and I think Nate McCreary is as well. Actually, Nate getting a much better average yards right there for the same amount of attempts. So, Bryce Perkins mostly just brought in to run the rock right there. 3 attempts, yes, 12.3 average is great. It is what it is. We finally, I was going to say we finally kind of figured it out right here. We basically beat ourselves between playing Danny Etling, again, barely 50% completion ratio, only a single touchdown, shooting ourselves in the foot with 10 freaking penalties, and only allowing Bryce Perkins to run the rock. EJ Perry and Danny Etling are definitely better at the deep balls when they're under pressure and stuff like that. But A, Bryce Perkins can sling the rock close. B, he can run. And C, if he's not pressured, he can get that ball downfield just like anybody else. So I remember watching this and being frustrated, not just obviously because of the end result, Jake Bates missing a 53-yarder when he literally just hit a 64-yarder at the beginning of the season to win a game, and that was against the St. Louis Battlehawks, which Battlehawks and Stallions came into this season hands down the favorites. Everybody assumed that was going to be those two going to the UFL championship. This was the last game of the regular season here, and then we go to the to the USFL championship, and Skip Holtz and the Birmingham Stallions just figured us out. There's no other real way around that. Danny Etling for the entirety. Bryce Perkins, I believe, got injured in the previous. The fact that Matt Corral can come in with an 82% completion ratio, put up put up 2 touchdowns right there. Matt Corral, didn't really run by any means, but Adrian Martinez, they didn't even really run the rock very much at all. Excuse me. Pretty crazy, honestly. Pretty crazy. This was just a dominating effect. 284. Math is hard. Yards through the air between Adrian Martinez, Matt Corral. Adrian Martinez, the fact that he didn't even rush very much, just kind of tells you what we need to. Again, Danny Etling, not exactly a rusher. I do like this 62% kind of cool. Obviously, that was off of that was off of trick plays and whatnot. But hey, still 1 for 118. Still made it there. So love to see that. All in all, a 7-3, of regular season, 7-4 overall record between the USFL Conference Championship plus the regular season. Let's move on back to our off-season topics here, folks. Good and the bad and the ugly coming up in just a second. Moving on along here to the good, the bad, and the ugly. I know what you're thinking as well. Tugboat, why would you reference yourself twice there? To which I would say that's hurtful. That's hurtful, okay? And maybe bad, not that ugly, okay? I don't know why you keep attacking me either. That's what I would say to that. No, good and bad and the ugly. From last season, what we'll be looking into this next, right? Good overall is just defense. Breland Speaks set records for the UFL, set records for the team, consistently had like just overwhelming influence over offensive teams while he was on the field. Just statistics wise and comparison wise, there's one other player with more sacks than him, and he's been and that stat was recorded since 2019, since previous spring football iterations, right? In a single season, Breland Speaks came up with one less sack. I believe it was 13.5 that he had to 14.5 for the other player, who I think was on the Houston Roughnecks. Again, over a little bit of a longer career, we'll say. No answer on. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Other good things are options, honestly, between all of our so quote unquote skill positions outside of tight end, right? EJ Perry, Danny Etling, Brian Lewerke last year. I don't think we're going to see the Michigan State product this year. Bryce Perkins, which I absolutely loved. And then looking at wide receivers, Marcus Sims, we won't be seeing him. He's playing for the Seattle Seahawks. Talk about that a little bit later. Devin Gray got stuff going early, as long as Samson Nakua and Sayose Mariner featured right here. My man. Trey Quinn as well got things done early. What this tells me is this is like pop-off potential, obviously. Any individual quarterback is going to have a little bit more like chemistry with some wide receivers, less chemistry with others. But the simple fact that we have all of these skilled wide receivers and plenty of quarterback options coming into this year, that inspires hope. This is definitely one of the good. The ability for Mike Nolan to replace players in skill positions and continue to find success is unequivocal in the UFL, at least. You could say Skip Holtz, but that's just, he's just insane he's just a great coach. He's just a great coach. He has great skill right there. They won last year, shut out the San Antonio Brahmas for a reason. Now, Tugboat, do you think the Michigan Panthers and the Birmingham Stallions would have resulted in the same score? No, I do not. I don't think the best two teams played in the UFL championship last year. But hey, I'm just a guy. With a big, loud, annoying voice. It is what it is. Other good things. Yeah. Oh, and the running backs as well, showing a little bit of wiggle room there, right? Wes Hills pops off earlier, gets injured. Matt Colburn, Nate McCreary come on in here and really do a great job of like a 1-2 punch and whatnot. Toa Tua comes in towards the end of the season. Tua will be returning. No definitive answer on the rest of those running backs quite yet, unless there is a UFL exchange. Transactions tweet that I've missed as of today, which is 11/18, and I don't think I have. More good. Oh yeah, just more good. Just overall. A 7-3 regular season record is not too shabby. Second or third best? Were the Brahmas 8-2? I can't exactly remember actually. And only losing to the Stallions twice, right? Only losing the Stallions twice. Only losing the Stallions by a touchdown in the regular season, and then by a single point when we almost beat them with Jake Bates 53-yarder. Oh well. Also, got to say, a lot of the other very skilled running backs in this league had a problem with our defense, and that's fantastic. You can't really be surprised with names like Walter Palmer, Breland Speaks, obviously. Adonis Alexander, the cornerback, Nate Brooks, the cornerback that is. These are guys that are going to be in your face all day long. Kai Nakua is the strong safety in the back, as well as Adonis Alexander, again, the cornerback. These guys just played shutdown defenses, specifically against running backs, or really good running backs that a lot of other teams would have issue with. Now, let's talk about the bad, right? Honestly, our offensive line, offensive tackle specifically as a position, not fantastic. Sacks were given up, like finding length in the pocket to opposing teams last year, and obviously it's better with mobile quarterback. With mobile quarterbacks like EJ Perry and Bryce Perkins, for their ability to be able to get out of the pocket, even to sling it, or at least rush for a few yards or more if they can break it off, obviously. But this is an unsustainable situation with our offensive line. Another bad was that the ability to stop rushing quarterbacks. Adrian Martinez almost took it easy on us right there. Rushing quarterback's not named Jordan Teamo. Let me say that. I don't know why he was unable to find any kind of like rhythm, any kind of rushing success whatsoever against us. And again, granted, it was only one game, but it was also played in DC, which was frequently sold out and a home field advantage, unlike any other except for, of course, St. Louis. And another bad, obviously, key players taken by the NFL. Let's just go through here. Yeah, as a transition, of course. So Marcus Sims went off to the Seattle Seahawks. Javen White, the linebacker, went off to, I think, the Browns. Nate Brooks went to the Browns. Javen White went to the Bears, I believe. And Chim Okorafor, I think I'm saying that. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that. Our offensive lineman going off to the Bengals. The Bengals. The Bengals are an 80s dance group. The Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals, which is brutal. Okorafor going, just watching the guy play was amazing. What can I say? That is definitely some of the bad. The ugly, again, that times two. Jake Bates. 64-yarders. Yes, it was inside. A hit, a 64-yarder, 63-yarder, 61-yarder. He spent the first 5 weeks without missing. Did not miss, right? And it is something that Mike Nolan, especially, after injury issues, is something that Mike Nolan got to rely on. And, I mean, they made jokes about it on the field, right? But, Mike Nolan would be like, I'm trying to consider this, and then Jake Bates would run up to him and be like, yo, hey, right here. Do you want a guaranteed 3 points, or you want to try and go for 6 and then go 1, 2, and 3 afterwards, right? Obviously, we would almost always go for 1 as well, unless it was required to go for 2 or obviously 3. Generally, only going for 1 right there. Obviously, that is not a kickoff. It is just a from the 2-yard line. Almost always quarterback rush or handing it off to Nate McCreary, Wes Hills, Matt Colburn, Toa Tua. Skill position I did not talk about is tight end. Cole Hicotini. Actually, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. The ugly right here is that, the base can't bail us out. Again, the Battlehawks Week 1 win, which kind of set, in my opinion, set the pace for the season a little bit, and for the St. Louis Battlehawks. A lot of people had a lot of high hopes for this squad, and them losing initially after a hard-fought game in which our defense stood up strong. It had to have been a bad feeling. I don't know. I'm not a St. Louis Battlehawks fan. Taking a look at the more ugly, can't have a podcast on the Michigan Panthers without mentioning it. Yeah, the attendance, dude. It was abysmal. It was dog shit. It's terrible. Yes, this is partly because they're playing at Ford Field, which is an NFL stadium with closer to 100,000 seating capacity or whatnot, and that will never be filled by a UFL crowd in 2024. Probably not 2025 or 2026 either, right? They fill out the St. Louis, they fill out the St. Louis Battle Dome. That city has been starved of football for a while since Kroenke took the Rams out of there, so you can't really be surprised about that. And it's also, I'm not exactly sure I'm not exactly sure their capacity, but I'm telling you, it ain't 100,000. It's nowhere near Ford Field. It's nowhere near the Big House from Michigan. And these places just seem so much more empty because there's only, I think we had 7,000 people at the opening game last year. You know what? Actually, that is on the, here, I can read it. Here, Ford Field attendance. 9,444 at the very beginning. 7,400 for Game 2. 6,900 for Game 3. Game 4, 7,400. Game 5, 9,300. Never once broke 10K, right? These are not inspirational numbers. And overall, I don't see those as sustainable, right? Yes, we got fucked out of the home field advantage last year because of the I forgot the name of the college, but there was a technical college somewhere around there, or a community college or something like that. They planned their graduation ceremony at Ford Field, and because the UFL and the spring football, no one gives a shit. Obviously, that took precedence because no one anticipated us to go to the playoffs, right? Oh well, is what it is. That actually is a fantastic ugly. Us getting snubbed on that last year was fucking horrible. The attendance was not great. If you're watching this and you're interested and you're going and you live in the Detroit area, please go to a game, man. Go to a game. It's fantastic. I got to go to an XFL game. I know you're wondering, why is this guy wearing a Vegas Vipers hat? Well, I like to respect the dead, right? Maybe we'll see a Vegas Vipers squad in the UFL in years future. Who knows? Probably not, as long as they don't play at Cashman Field. That was the worst field ever. That was the worst football field I've ever laid eyes on. I've ever had the displeasure of looking at. Let's talk a little bit about these players that left. Marcus Sims was him, the wide receiver that long balls, short balls, able to get blocking going and get these little slant routes opened up for his teammates and whatnot. He's just fantastic. Javen White, I mean, we have great linebackers and stuff like this, but that one kind of hurt. I'm not gonna lie. Javen White and Chimo Okorafor, excuse me, right there. But both, offensive line, defensive line, or linebacker, excuse me. Regardless, still really hurts. Nate Brooks and wait, Nate Brooks, wasn't there another cornerback who left? No, I guess that was just it. If Breland Speaks doesn't come back as well, I'm a little concerned for that front seven, as they say. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I'm a little concerned for that front seven. Here's a little tidbit while I was researching stuff for the episode, right? How interesting, right? So Jake Bates, Marcus Sims, Javen White, Nate Brooks, and Chim Okorafor all going to Midwest teams, except for Sims, who went off to the Seattle Seahawks. That was Lions, Bears, Browns, and Bengals, all within that Lake Michigan, Ohio, Illinois type area. I just think that was interesting, right? Did not really travel too long. Let's take a look at some news and returning players. Again, this episode is filmed 11/18, November 18th. So if there's more announcements after this, I don't know about them. But most recently, this is the list. Defensive tackle Garrett Marino, offensive tackle Jarrett Horst. Very happy about that. Again, I've already talked about our offensive tackle position last year. There's going to be the safety Kedrick Whitehead Jr., defensive end Mike Tafua, played with us last year. Wide receiver Devin Gray. Yeah, we're going to have like a Devin and Devin pair here. Devin Gray and Devin Ross. Quarterback EJ Perry. Love it. Would like to see Bryce Perkins in there as well. Tight end Gunnar Oaks. Gunnar Oaks, I do not believe played with us last year. If he's great, Cole Hicatini can use all the help that they can get, because again, the tight end position is just going to be so much. If we don't massively improve our tackle position, both sides, then the tight end position just becomes so much more important on plays that aren't passing plays to go to the tight end, right? Just logic follows that they're going to need more help on their ends, right? Long snapper Jordan Ober, not 100% sure about that player, sorry. Center Noah Johnson. Offensive tackle Ryan Nelson. So we got Jared Horst, Ryan Nelson in offensive tackle position. Running back Toa Tua. Let's go. Showed what he can do for us last year. Offensive tackle James Walker as well. Believe that's out of Minnesota if memory serves. So team with a decent decent offensive line there, friends. Matty Colburn. That's the second, y'all. That's the second. He has a kid. He's not junior. It's the second. His son is the third. Wide receiver, St. Banner. Let's go, my man right here. Pow, 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 pow. And again, as per mentioned, wide receiver Devin Ross. The Devin Ross-Devin Gray combo will be deadly. I would love to hear other announcements in the wide receiver position. Obviously, Marcus Sims is no more. Trey Quinn, no answer yet. Samson Nakua. Bro, I'll take every fucking Nakua we can take. You know what I'm saying? Kai Nakua was amazing last year. Samson Nakua for us this year. I'd love it. The Nakua family breathes football, right? And it's really hard to try and find that sort of passion throughout that sort of passion and ability, I should say, right? That's very important. It's very hard to find that level, and it's not just like they're all cornerbacks or running backs or anything else like that, right? This ain't a Manning family. It's not everybody's going to be a quarterback out here, right? And I'd say that the dad, Arch Manning, did not play quarterback, if I remember right. I'm going to feel like a fool if this is Arch Manning dad. Cooper Manning, that's his name. Cooper Manning did not play football. Excuse me. All right. Their dad, I thought, played position other than quarterback. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? There's no way to say that. There's no way to know these things. Were it so easy to say things correctly on a podcast that you're filming yourself? I don't know. Let's take a look at our schedule here. News and returning players. I actually want to do news at the last, so let's take a look at the schedule. Now, folks, this is not official, okay? This is just a representation to help me talk about it, right? There's not been dates or times officially announced yet. We do know there will be 5 games at Ford Field, 5 home games. There'll be obviously a Stallions, a Roughnecks, and a Showboats game there, and the other 2 will be members from the XFL conference. Of that being, of course, the DC Defenders, San Antonio Brahmas, Arlington Renegades, St. Louis Battlehawks. Of these teams that I want to play at home, obviously the St. Louis Battlehawks and the San Antonio Brahmas. Will the schedule shake out to that? Who knows? That's literally just a luck thing at this point. Obviously, you trade home game and away game for conference rivals and whatnot. That being the Houston Roughnecks, the Birmingham Stallions, and of course the Memphis Showboats. Again, we'll see kind of like luck of the cards and how that one draws out there. Again, this is not official. This is just a representation. Help me talk about it, right? Hard places to play are obviously for oh no, oh man, what is it? Audi Field in DC, and the Battle Dome in St. Louis. I gotta say, if the San Antonio Brahmas, the Alamo Dome down there, if they get attendance going, then that begins to be a place that I worry about. But as it is, and their attendance numbers last year, couldn't give a shit less, honestly. Not trying to be rude or nothing like that, but just how it is. They also beat us by 10, so we're going to need a little bit of like revenge action here. Also, I have not done a whole lot of research on the San Antonio Brahmas or some of the other UFL teams. I would like for that to be another real competitive game. I got a lot of respect for that head coach over there, son of Bum, and that was Quentin Dormady over there last year. Now he's over with the Memphis Showboats. I hope they're more competitive again. Just in general, I hope everybody regresses towards an average, right? I really don't want to just beat up on the Showboats and the Roughnecks next year. I really don't want the Stallions just fucking beat everybody. I don't want the Arlington Renegades to constantly go down. I think in their season like 2-8 with like 5 games that is like a total of like 8 points or something like that. They lost to point to us. It just happened all the time is all I'm saying. DC had their number as well. Yeah. So schedule here. Let's flip back over to it. News and returning players. As far as predictions, I can't really make like super great predictions, but just using the past to predict the future here, I'm gonna say 1-1 with the Stallions. I'm gonna say 2 over either the Memphis Showboats or the Houston Roughnecks. So that's 4 wins and 3 losses right there. Well, and then again, I just don't know as much about the XFL conference and how they're kind of shaking out. I'll tell you, if things don't change, then that's a guaranteed W against the Arlington Renegades again and the DC Defenders, especially the way we just slapped them around last year. That's it for predictions. Let's go on over here to some news, because this has a little bit to do with the schedules as well. Like I said, 5 home games, 5 away games, 10 regular season, but it'll be on Friday. How cool is that? They'll have, of the 4 games per weekend, no bye weeks for these teams. They'll have at least 1 game on Friday. Now, here's a question. Here's a little interesting little topic, right? How do you want those games to be divided up otherwise? Because what I don't want is 3 games on Saturday or 3 games on Sunday. I'm not really sure if I want 2 games on Saturday or 2 games on Sunday. I know that I don't want early games on both of those, right? I don't want like a noon kickoff on Saturday and noon kickoff on Sunday, especially if Sunday is like that's the only game on then. And I would really like to see them stretch the field that is the chronological resource that they have, time, on Saturdays and Sundays, and not have like a 12 kickoff and then like a 3:30 kickoff or something like that. Have like 1 o'clock Eastern and then like 7:30 or something like that. That's the way I look at it. But I just like having football across the day. What do I know though? I would not be surprised if they take one of these weekends and put like all 4, like 3 games on Saturday and 1 game on Sunday or something like that. Like maybe towards the end of the season, just to kind of mix up things a little bit. I don't know. We'll make more content, have some more announcements when that gets a little bit closer, right? As far as other news, I will keep you guys updated onto hirings, players getting picked up and signed and other things like this from the UFL Twitter transactions page. And we're a big shout out to them for doing it. But last piece of news right here: Agent McCarron announced about a week ago that he would not be returning with the St. Louis Battlehawks. A lot of people speculated that meant that he was done. That is not the case, though. Went on a podcast earlier today, I believe. Yeah, earlier today, I believe, and basically was talking about. I mean, the man's got some requirements. Let's just say that. Y'all can go over and watch that and kind of, delve what you take from that one. But what I take from it is obviously he's got, you got some requirements. That's not a terrible thing when you're a starting quarterback like he is. But the thing is, and specifically with the Panthers, I don't think we have to worry about him coming over here. Not that he's bad or anything else like that. I'm not saying that by any means, but we have shown a preference for mobile quarterbacks, and AJ McCarron is not one. He wasn't one in Alabama. He has not been one in the UFL. Obviously, NFL, I think he was like practice squad there, so we never actually really saw him play. That really only leaves a couple of different teams, and if that goes to, I mean, what San Antonio? I think DC is super happy with Jordan Ta'amu. I wouldn't be as I wouldn't. if they haven't changed anything, I wouldn't be super happy about it, but I also don't see that DC squad not changing at all and being the same kind of like weirdly disappointing team that we saw last year. There was just like a bunch of like up and down. Like they beat up on the Renegades, but everybody beat up on the Renegades. Everybody beat the Renegades by a point or two at least. So where is he going? Where is he heading? We know for certain, right? Not going to the Birmingham Stallions. Houston might be a little bit too far away for him to travel because he has had complaints about that. Also, not exactly an awe-inspiring squad. Memphis, again, not exactly an awe-inspiring squad. Would be better for travel, given that it's a little bit more centralized than everything else, though. DC, again, I feel like they're happy with Jordan Tiamo. Who knows? San Antonio, they lost Quentin Dormady. Who knows? Who knows? I could definitely see a little bit of butting of heads there between A.J. McCarron and the son of Bum, if that happens right there, just given how often A.J. McCarron wants to, play his own game, call audibles, and throw that ball how he wants to. Arlington. Now that's interesting. Perhaps they were the throw first team earlier with Luis Perez, right? Well, let me actually. I don't think Luis Perez got picked up by the NFL, did he? Free agent. Yeah, hang on. Sorry about this, guys. Went to Southwestern. Yeah, A&M Commerce. Yep, I get it. Gotcha. So signed with the Chargers in August and did not exactly work out right there. Contract terminated from the Arlington Renegades, obviously as they finished it. And then signed with the Chargers for like 3 weeks or something like that. So no answer from old Luis Perez. How old is Luis Perez? This was just up here. 30 even. So not archaic by any means. 30 is pushing that a little bit. Yeah, AJ McCarron is 34, so that's pushing it a little bit, especially in a league that is really, really going to want them to run, right? San Antonio, I don't see them not wanting some quarterback rushes out of whoever's going to be playing that position. And this is just speculation, but I'm curious to see how much the Mochigan Panthers' performance last year with 4 different quarterbacks coming in, and at least running the ball and throwing the rock at least a little bit, may have an effect on other teams. We've already seen multiple things picked up from the NFL, or picked up by the NFL from the UFL. There's been a lot of people who talked about quarterback like bullpens, right? Similar to like baseball here, and you play the hot hand on the day, like everybody gets a quarter or whatever else like that, and how you play the best is going to determine future positioning, right? With your starter in the first quarter, or maybe even playing 2 quarters, and then a closer in the last quarter, third quarter. Who knows, right? Interesting stuff. Again, just kind of speculation and whatnot. But as it is, that's gonna be pretty much about it. Let me know what you think about the AJ McCarron news and what you think about the scheduling stuff as well. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to all the other folks over here at the UFM, the United Football Media Group. Big shout out Battle Talk, the Battle Talk show, the Bombas Bullpen with Josh over there. DC Defenders, not exactly. I think Alex is going to be covering this. Yeah, I think Alex and Weber are going to be covering this one again. Obviously, the DC Defenders have 2 different shows here for the UFM. The Hellraisers podcast absolutely will be returning. Polar Opposites or Solar Opposites, if I'm hosting, we'll be back right there. That's just more of like a UFL talk, or UFM talk show about the UFL. The Roughnecks rundown. I'm pretty sure Ace is back there. I don't know. The man's been beaten down before. I think he can take it another season though. Captain's Log, little sink or swim action. That is Brandon over there. Not just talking about the Memphis Showbiz, but also talking about a little gambling, a little money action, a little skin in the game. You know what I'm talking about. I'll be joining him for that one, at least some, and obviously we got our Panthers Picks podcast that'll go after regular seasons. We obviously don't have odds out for UFL divisional or championship winners or anything else like that quite yet. When we do, I will address them. Stallions Run! That's Buck and Scout. I think Buck actually got himself a real man's job, right? Like a real job over there. So I believe, going to be involved again. Let me get this a little bit bigger, right? Why am I so small? There you go. And I believe Buck will be involved again. Scout has been answering all things UFM at least the past couple days, so I believe we'll be involved again as well. Tell me about it. Oh, my man Arik, absolutely love him. Might even have him on this show for one of these episodes, right? Especially given that defending on week to week and who the Mochigan Panthers are playing, right? And of course myself, the Panthers PAW-DCAST, PAW-DCAST. Guys, I am FBI Tugboat. You can find me right there at FBI_Tugboat on literally literally everywhere. Literally everywhere. We're talking Discord, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, like everything at FBI underscore tugboat. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the UFM United Football Media. If you like that, please make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you want more videos, you can check them out on our channel over here. The best one for you is right here. And then if you like mine, the rest of my playlist is right here. Thank you guys, and I hope to see you next time.